And looks like we're underway.
Indeed. And looks like rupees at the start. Those are going to be very important here for our runners as well. Let's get a quick check from John of the map. And we've got crystals at Eastern and Hera and a pendant at Desert Palace.
And I think that Eastern crystal was a 5-6 crystal.
Yes, it was. It was the sixth crystal, I think.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and tackle retro mode first, because that's probably one of the newer things that's to the randomizer community, as we're seeing hearts on tree poles from both sides. So, ooh, bombs from the bush crabs and a heart container from Uncle.
Nice finds. We're getting a check here from Chex of Lumberjack Ledge. Well, John's going to go open up a piece of heart out of the chest right next to Uncle.
And Lumberjack Cave just having a heart piece, so I ain't going to worry about that today. So, retro mode kind of tries to play a lot like Zelda 1. So, all small keys work for any small key door in any dungeon. That means the small keys are in the randomized pool with all the other items. They're not specifically restricted to dungeons. You can buy keys if you need them at stores. Also, we don't have arrows anymore. You spend money to shoot arrows. 10 rupees for a wooden arrow and 50 rupees for another one. And you're seeing one of the other things. We have these take any rooms where there's heart containers and blue potions. And since we don't have bottles, obviously Chexhuman's taking a heart container.
I think I take the heart container as well, especially early on. You really gonna need those extra hearts, especially if you see an early dark world here. So I like to say it all the time, man, the dark world does not play nice just because you had to go there early. And we're seeing actually, as you mentioned, Jax, we're seeing those keys show up in the overworld. The very first key there for both of our runners.
Mm-hmm. And as Lumaga83 is saying in Twitch, they're wanting to watch this to know where to find it, pick any rooms. Well, the thing is, they're randomized with any room that is determined not important to the randomizer seed.
Absolutely, and if you were watching very carefully a little earlier, you saw Chexhuman walk into the lumberjack. We're seeing him right now walk into the fortune teller as well. Walked into the lumberjack's house to see if it was one of those take any locations. So John's not really checking so much here. Chex looks like he is prioritizing checking some of these early locations, at least the ones that are on the way.
Mm-hmm. Now, the last thing we didn't touch on with retro mode is that with those take any rooms, there is one of those rooms that is of course, it's dangerous to go alone, take this of a sword upgrade. So we are guaranteed that one of those are going to be in that room. We got the mirror in the well, as well as blue mail.
And of course, since this is hard mode, you're only going to get that one blue mail upgrade. The other one's going to turn into 20 rupees. And same with the sword, you're not going to be able to get the most amount of rupees, as actually John pulling the bottle vendor, turning 100 rupees into 300. So nice trade there.
It's kind of, I think the bottle vendor day is running a counterfeiting operation.
I don't know. Or maybe he was just holding on to an investment for us and giving us our return.
Yep. But as you were saying about hard mode, so yes, we can only get to tempered sword, we can only get to blue mail. There are fewer heart containers in there. I think the max is 14 hearts, I want to say, that you can get to with the heart pieces and the heart containers. And no half magic. And whoa, flute and chicken shack.
Oh, that's nice. Flute showing up in the Crystal Someone hut. And I do want to make a small addendum on Chex's sprite. It's the hat. It's the hat color that matches Link. So, and one of the cool things about this retro mode is we're actually getting to see some of the houses you don't you don't normally get to see. So like, hey, there's a house with a bed in it, or there's a house with a bunch of beds in it. You completely forget those things are in this game.
I actually think with this being hard mode, it probably actually warrants you checking these houses a little bit more than you would in like a normal difficulty seed, because with only having a max of 14 hearts, you know 4 of them are in those take any rooms.
Absolutely. So you want to get those as early as possible.
Mm-hmm. Abarella saying that this seed is blue, dabby dee dabby die. But ladies and gentlemen, at this time with that blue flute, it is time to honor Hyrule with playing the national Swag Deck Anthem. And with that, the Hawk's about to rock, and we salute you.
Yes, indeed. And of course, we're seeing both our runners do the early checks here of Kakariko, and following each other's footsteps here. John having to wait to get the bombs first, and Chex going ahead and looks like he's going to open up the hut down here.
And gets another take any room.
Nice.
Gonna get another heart container. Nice.
Good call. And John's now doing some checking as well. He's doing some of these checks that Chex did. Ha.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
I didn't even know I was doing it.
Alright, so JohnRossums flutes to the South Shore.
Didn't see anything in that chest. Chex checking the library ledge, and it didn't look like anything either, so...
You know, the first time I encountered Chexhuman was, we commentated together and we called it the Jex and Chex show.
Oh,
so...
Sounds like a nice radio show, 2 to 6 Eastern here on WLTTP.
Nice. Alright, mini troll dorm time on John's side.
Yeah, before anyone says anything, I know that's one too many call letters for a radio station, so deal with it. Anyways, he's gonna pick up a John's gonna pick up a full magic field there from the mini Moldorm cave and get access to the back. Get the hammer. Blue rupees. 20. Another key. And 5 more rupees.
Very nice. So we got a perma weapon now.
And we did see that the maze race was not anything of value. It looks like there's only a blue rupee up on Lake Hilly Island. So, not much. Chex is going to pick up the key. You spend 100. He's also going to grab the arrows.
Yep. As we were saying earlier, in retro mode, you do have to buy the arrows to actually spend the money to fire them. We're going to see escape on John's side.
Yeah, so John's going to go check out escape here, while Chex is going to go ahead and finish up the old swamp gate here.
So we had a question in chat from Made Woke Herd. I think that's how you pronounce it. Are keys in Logic at all, or just the nice item pool? Well, and then as Falfon says, I believe they are not in Logic because the randomizer assumes you can farm rupees and farm bombs. So since you can buy keys with farmed rupees, therefore you can farm keys.
Absolutely, I think that's the right answer. Generally, anything that's farmable or able to be accessed by a farmable item is not within the logic. So, for example, Zora and the rupee drops that you find in chests are never within the logic. Because it's not like you're going to get 300 rupees twice and be like, oh, I need to go to Zora. That's just the game, putting those there and you found them. Now, Zora may have an item that's needed, but getting the money for that is not going to be within logic because the fact is the game will just assume you're going to farm rupees anyways.
The one thing to bear in mind there is that you need either the Power Glove or the Flippers to get to Zora.
Right. So, yeah, those items will perhaps give you a hint that you might need to go to Zora, but the presence simply of a lot of rupees early on will not.
So we did see a bottle of blue potion in Zelda's cell, so now we're going to see John go turn that in with the sick kid. And more blue with a blue rupee.
Yeah, there's a lot of blue things in this game. Blue houses, blue mail, blue rupees, blue bombs, blue canes, blue pendant. Crystals are blue. It's a
so
nice
much
color.
Blue.
Check's getting that drop as well, so he'll have full magic.
Alright, so now John's gonna head east. I imagine he's heading for Sahasrara's closet, maybe Eastern Palace.
We are going to get an ice cave check, it looks like, from Chexhuman.
Now, John did not go there, but having the flute, it'd be very easy to go back for it.
Check's got to be careful here, though. 1.5 with those crabs that hit for 2, so I always want to be careful.
Yeah, with blue mail, they only hit for 1, though, so still good there. So we have a second bottle of green goo in the closet. It looks like John's not going to head to Eastern, is just going to flute away from there. Ooh! There's the sword to take any room right next to Ice Rod Cave.
That is a good room to find for Chexhuman. And we also got some information from JohnRossums' side of things. Went to talk to Sahasrara and found that the Reed Pendant and Meyer. And we're getting to see a little bit of a difference here. Obviously, John having to use the hammer to go through the cave. Chex is going to be using the sword, can use the charged slash particle effects to kind of work as a nightlight to get through here without the lamp. So John's going to have to kind of remember from memory, like, hey, this is layout of the room. And you just kind of have to work your way through here.
This is the normal part where I would say that I suck at this game, but I do have to say, when practicing dark rooms like the one in Eastern or this one for the Old Man Cave, it's not that hard to actually memorize kind of the length of time that you need to hold the buttons and the pattern and kind of following it, that if you don't have the sword, it's not that hard to practice without having a guide going through the dark room.
Absolutely. We saw John do it with the hammer there. Very impressive. Very nice to see. And of course, we're also going to get... I think Chex is going to go ahead and check it here.
Yeah, he's
John's
just going to YOLO it, but there's also a hint tile that he's going to check to see if we have it. Ooh, map check. So the other pendant is at Swamp Palace, and the other 5/6 crystal is at Skullwoods.
Indeed. It looks like it was only a heart container's help with the fishes as our hint.
So that probably means that my Zora limerick today is gonna come true before we actually get there.
Oh boy.
Speaking of which, there's the Flippers and Hera.
Hey, more blue things.
Actually, both runners are heading into Hera.
Okay.
And we're going to have to do a coffee break to get the way up the rest of Hera, so with no fire source to brew that coffee, both of our runners are shortly going to be heading out of Hera.
And we also get a hint. Chuck's just got the hint as well, but Pokemon Door is in Mimic Cave. So in case we need that to get in somewhere or to get to something if it's on a tablet. There you go. That's where it is.
Which means we're going to need Turtle Rock access before we can check anything with the book.
Right, and of course we may not need to check it at all. It may simply be a situation where we don't see anyone going to a Pendant dungeon. And both runners are going to be going into Spike Cave right now.
Taking that walk of shame when not having the boots. The long, arduous walk just to find $5.
It's always enjoyable just to find 5 rupees at the end of a long, painful walk to Spike Cave. Wouldn't you agree?
Mm-hmm. To our earlier point about Pendant dungeons, chat is having a field day with the fact that with the hammer, the flippers, and the mirror, we're not far from Green Pendant Swamp Palace.
I think Green Pendant's at Meyer, so that would be one of the other pendants. I think it's Blue Pendant is at Meyer. I mean at Swamp. I got 'em backwards now.
Oh yeah, you're right. Green Pendant was a Meyer, my bad. We got a piece of Chivalry and a Fisher Price My First Shield in the bottom of Paradox Cave.
And top side, we've got a couple of rupees. There's the second shield upgrade.
And the Power Glove.
And John's
If I
gonna
remember
go
correctly,
out.
I know we... Oh, sorry. We keep
Oh, sorry.
stepping each other. I'm sorry, man. But I was going to mention earlier, we were talking about the differences in hard mode. One of the things we didn't really talk about is, I think you can only get up to Red Shield. I don't think you can get Riot Shield in hard mode, which I wasn't thinking we would need to talk about, but, well, we're already at Red Shield.
That's absolutely correct. And Magic Cape, Master Sword, and the map showing up in the back of Escape.
So we've still got Eastern Palace, and we've got Zora is technically open. The Ledge is also open. But the other interesting thing is, with this being retro mode, Aga Tower does have 2 item locations.
Correct. And now we're seeing John pick up that sword. So we saw a little difference here. Chex was prioritizing those early checks. John looks like he's been waiting a little bit longer to check some of the take any possible locations, and may now be doing that. And also, I was going to say, I suspect that he's going. We had a great idea at the same time, but I suspect he's going to Hobo and then Zora. Go ahead.
Yes, and I think Chex is heading for the front of Escape. I kind of wonder, would Chex maybe try the beginning of Aga Tower at the, YOLO and think maybe the lamp is there, enticing me to go, but we'll see what the Hobo has first.
Just a big 20.
Alright, so now we'll see John head over to the Zora area. We got 2 items in Waterfall of Wishing, Zora Ledge, and we know from the hint that a heart container is at the Big Fish. Alright, and just 5 rupees. So Nihan, I have the 1 limerick, and I actually did try writing some other poems, but I've just never used them. But since we have the hint, do you mind if I try another one? Nihan, you there? Alright, so now we're going to see the sewer chest, which is out of logic without the lamp.
Without the lamp, yep. Yeah, it looks like Chex is still gonna be going for it. Yeah, well, basically, we just need a lamp now. And that Moon Pearl could be hiding behind Aga on the pyramid. Oh, just a big 5. Oh, we got the shovel dig spot to check too.
Yep, sure do. So we're pretty much down to Shovel, and we're down to Eastern, and the first chest in Aga 1.
I mean, if it's the first chest in Aga 1, you have to be thinking that the game wants you to go up there, because it's like, hey, last thing you're missing, right? Yeah, go do it.
Alright, strike the earth, just a piece of heart.
For chivalry.
Alright. Desert Ledge has $5, which we know the book is at Mimic Cave, so... Alright, so Chex is going to do Hospital's Closet and probably will head for Eastern. Which, John, we're having a convergence on Eastern Palace at this point. And we know John already checks the Hospitalist Closet, so John's just making a beeline for Eastern.
Yeah, you've got to be thinking of the lamp or the Moon Pearl or something. There's got to be progression here somewhere.
So just 5 rupees in the second chest. I missed what the first one was.
The first chest that we saw, I believe, was the map. So I think we're just kind of hoping that maybe the other 2 items are out here in the front.
Well, if we don't find... We basically have one more shot, because either the big key is here, if it's not, which it is, then we can check the big chest. If there isn't an item in the big chest, we don't have the lamp, so everything else is going to be out of logic.
Oh, we got one of those little trolley things too. Unfortunately, troll hint showing up in Eastern Palace, and the compass.
And there's nothing in Eastern. All right, we missed it earlier, so I'm going to try something new since we know it's a heart piece. O money with which I've gathered, I throw thee into the water below. The whirlpool of King Zora flow to give an item of importance haphazard.
Nice. Can I snap? Like, no, this doesn't pick up the mic. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to do the cool thing with the like.
All right, so, but while I was saying that, I mean, something has to be in that first chest in Aga Tower. That's what we're down to.
Yeah, you think it's got to be either the moon pearl or the lamp, and that will tell us which way we're gonna go.
I mean, how trolly would it be if the moon pearl is in the first chest of Aga Tower? So this retro seed forces you to start the Aga Tower climb, and then, oh, by the way, here's the moon pearl.
Yeah, you know, that's always the possibility, right? Yeah, I guess. I guess we're going to check Aga at this point, and I think John's got to be thinking here for a moment. What do I do now?
I mean, he's racking his brain.
I think we know the answer. We know the answer between us here. You got another poem for this situation, by the way?
No, I only have poems for Zora, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Dang, I thought you were able to kind of come up with those quick, because I'd get like a bass out here and get some bongos and be boom 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 boom. Yeah, he's definitely thinking right now, you know, where do I go? He's gonna go to Sanctuary. Just trying to kind of piece together, okay, what's left? There's not much left at this point for him to check, besides, as we've said, that first Aga chest.
Mm-hmm. So let's explain for anyone who may not be understanding what we're following. So this is retro mode, and the reason why we're talking about this is because all of the small keys work for any door in any dungeon, or any small key door. The big key doors are still controlled by the big key. So because of that, the keys are in the item pool with everything else. And so because of that, the requirement to put 2 small keys in Aga Tower is not required. Thus, there is an item location in that first chest that right now at this point, with checking everything else, there has to be progression there.
Absolutely, and you would think possibly, if it's the lamp, that the moon pearl's got to be up on Pyramid, like right after you beat Aga.
Or it could be, or the moon pearl could be there. Titan's Mitts could be there, which then gets you the back door to Desert. It could also be the fire rod to send you back to Hera. It could be the bow that could... Well, no, you would need the lamp to logically finish Eastern, so forget about the bow. Right.
It's a interesting situation here. We've got a couple of possibilities of what it could be, and just really, we know there's progression there. I mean, this is the very last place that we can check.
Yes, we got John doing the sewer chest check that Chex did, And now I think we have that convergence on the first chest in Aga Tower.
Oh no, he's getting the flute out. He's thinking he's got a flute somewhere, but
No, John, go up to Aga Tower. That's where the item is.
as John's thinking about it, Chex just walks right past him. They're like, oh hi. I'm just gonna go over here.
Oh no, John's walking away.
He's frustrated, I can tell. The question is, did he not check again?
No, I think he did check Agahnim. John,
Okay.
you there? You there, man? You're right where you need to be.
Okay,
All right. Moon Pearl, Titan's Mitts, Lamp, Fetch Quest. Titan's Mitts it is.
We're gonna see Chex go ahead and do the dark room here to get that second chest. Oh, he's checking Lumberjack Ledge.
I think he's checking Lumberjack Ledge to know if he has to run the whole tower.
Right. Oh, Chex is going through the dark, probably for like what, 20 rubies?
Well, we don't know. That second chest can have something. Somebody in chat was asking about who chose these settings. It was Chexhuman.
Correct.
And as Lamaga points out, the mids pretty much at this point only get you the back door into Desert Palace.
But that may be where they need to go next for their next item. So that may be the game trying to point you, hey, you gotta go to the one place that this is this fairly linear thing, and he just got, I think it was 20 rupees.
Yeah, it was just money. Either way, it was the cha-ching of money.
Yeah, I saw the, I heard the cha-ching and I saw the thing go up by about 20, so yeah.
All right. Come on, John, you're back on track.
Meanwhile, Chex is going into bunny mode. I wonder if we're going to get a bunny check. Yeah, we are going to get a bunny check of some of these locations. He's going to mirror here because he's going to die otherwise. And he'll go right back, but the murder bird will be gone.
Now, we're still not out of the Aga-1 woods yet, because we may find the lamp, as Crusaderate is pointing out in chat. The lamp could point us back to Aga-1. It's just a matter of whether we find the lamp or the Moon Pearl. And there's 20 bucks on the Desert Torch.
Did that say I heard toast beans is a great meal?
It's not. Although I'm not a beans guy.
John a little frustrated there. He's doing the happy slashes. He's so happy he found the Titan's mitts. But that's good news because that will put him on the right path. He's gonna think he's so far behind now, but he's not actually that far behind at all. He's right on Chex's heels. It's fairly linear seed so far, I think, Chex. We've seen our runners kind of get to explore some of the overworld, but it seems to be pointing them in the exact same direction with the exact same items.
Yeah. Because he had hammer in mini Trolldorm, which that combined with the mirror led you to Hera to get the flippers.
Right, and then there were a couple of other locations, but everything kind of bottlenecked back again with the Titan's mitts in Aga Tower, which sent you off to Desert Palace and do all these Desert Palace checks. Hey, there's the moon
But
pearl.
there was, yeah, to your point, Desert was a bust. Checkerboard has the moon pearl. That is our Dark World access.
That is exactly what we were looking for, and Chex is about to pick it up right on the heels of John right here. Little process of elimination here to figure this out. Go do all the things, and the one place that's left to check has to have the progression.
All right. So now we got the Meyer shed with just another small key. All right. Yerag Oxen Sight. I apologize, I completely butchered your name. Since keys are anywhere in logic, can you soft lock by unlocking dark rooms? No, because you can buy keys in shops, and because the randomizer assumes that you can farm rupees, that means the randomizer can assume you can farm keys.
Absolutely. So that's the one advantage here, is that you really can't lock yourself out of any dungeons or rooms. It just might be a pain in the butt to have to farm up to get the money to get, to go get a key and save and quit, and go get a key and save and quit if you need like multiple of them for some reason.
Mm-hmm. This is also one of those places where it's good to, Pod being so infamous for the amount of keys you need, it's good to have played Key Sanity to kind of know how to efficiently route Pod with the necessary keys. But it's Hype Cave time.
Woohoo!
Let's see what we got. A heart piece. Another small key. $5. A bee in a bottle. And a heart container. Since this is hard mode, you certainly want the health, and retro mode, you want the small key, but...
Yeah, that wasn't really anything too good, unfortunately.
Alright, so... Thieves Town is certainly in logic. You do Skullwoods. Pot. Most of the pot is in logic, but you can't full clear it. And actually, you could, if you were sadistic enough to do Swamp. Swamp is accessible, but you don't have the hook shot to full clear.
So now we're going to see, of course, a lot of big checks up here. We've got the Cave 45, South of Grove Cave check. Turned out to be nothing. I'd assume John and Chex will go do Digging Game now. Looks like.
That they certainly will.
And then we'll probably see them route up to Village of Outcasts, maybe into Thieves Town.
I would have to say, with the importance of money, even if I found the item early, I would still probably be digging to try to get more money, as we actually see John do. And we got Bombo's medallion at the digging game. And John is going to continue to dig to get more money, where Chexhuman just says, I'm good.
Yeah, you got the time, you might as well. Just gonna yell at you and kick you out at the end. Because he's a jerk.
Someone's asking what the Meyer medallion is. I don't actually think I saw either one of them check it.
No, I think they both kind of chose to skip it. I think they were kind of more concerned with finding that Moon Pearl first before checking the Meyer, especially because Meyer is just the green pendant, so we're not going to see it prioritized quite yet. Probably see them try to go into some of these dungeons here, starting with Thieves Town, and see if they can clear them out.
Yeah, I mean, I would have still checked it while I was there just to make sure, just in case. But to your point, like, we can't without the boots or the hook shot, even if you had the medallion, you couldn't get in right now.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we're kind of waiting right now, I guess, to see what all the decisions are that they're going to be making next. Of course, we've got turn-ins of the missing smith, and they're going to get some money out of that. I'm guessing probably both skip the chest walk for the moment, because we got more checks to do up here that are worth the time and effort, rather than walking all the way down to turn that chest in for one thing.
Especially because Thieves Town is a crystal. Like, what I'd probably do, considering the way both of them routed this, I'd probably do all the Village of Outcast checks, do Thieves Town, and then maybe do Skullwoods and Bumper Cave. Yeah, I'm waffling on this. Maybe you do... Huh?
Oh, I was going to say, I would say that's probably the right call. Thieves Town,
Yeah.
Skullwoods, early checks. See if you can find that fire route somewhere. If you can't, and go check Bumper Cave, Graveyard Ledge, and then save and quit and figure out where you're going to go next.
Yeah, maybe. Like, the only thing I would say is maybe I do the lunchbox before Skullwoods, because since you have the flute, you can just you can get the lunchbox, flute to 7, turn it in, go, and then immediately flute back to 3, and then you're right at the doorstep of Skullwoods.
You know, it's not a bad idea, actually. That's pretty sound logic here. We are seeing checks go into Thieves Town to check the first 4, getting the, and of course, the blue cane first. Finding all the blue things, so Cane of Burna in that first chest.
I mean, since this is hard mode and we're only going to get to blue mail, we might as well say we've got the blue man group here.
No, you don't have to go all the way to Las Vegas to see him perform. You can just watch right here on Speed Gaming 5. Save you a little bit of airfare.
Exactly, where we got Chexhuman versus JohnRossums, who are giving us all this blue action, and certainly deserve your follows on Twitch, which if you don't give, then, well, they're just going to be blue and just going to be sad, because they don't have people that watch them on a regular basis.
Indeed. So we just gave you the links to follow both of our wonderful runners for tonight. Should give them a follow at some point. I'm sure they both would appreciate it, and you're both among some of the I don't know, I want to say more active members, but I see both of them running a lot in the community. So definitely, if you like rando streams, probably get quite a few from Chex and John.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, not really finding. We found the Cane of Burna, but we haven't really found what I would say is like hard progression in Thieves Town yet. So we still have some other chests to check, but it'll be interesting to see what they find.
Well, okay, we already had access to Spike Cave by way of the cape in a bottle, but I mean, Cane of Burna would also point us there. I guess hard mode gives us more fake hints, because that's the 3rd one, and I thought it maxed at 2.
No, I think there's 4 or 5 of them, but we're finding all of them at once, which is pretty interesting. We saw both vendors actually go and skip the crystal switch flip to check that hint first, and then they went back downstairs and gave it a look.
As Falfon is pointing out in chat, with this also being hard mode, the Cane of Brian does not give immunity anymore, but it can still be used to get across spikes in the event that this is one-hit KO mode, which it's not. And then it still does damage, it just doesn't do immunity.
Right, so it would still be good for using, in like the blind fight if you want to get some extra hits in, but you've got the sword. There's a pattern to it. You John and Chex probably know it by now, so I can see them just kind of not using it for anything, maybe except for Spike Game. Probably not even that.
All right, Bloomerang in the maiden cell to add on to the blue in this seed.
And the red thing, of course.
Which I know chat loves it whenever I do make my sports ball references, but being a good Ohio boy, I do have to say that I'm kind of down because of the blue and yellow that is on my screen for the rest of this race.
I know. I understand everything you're saying.
Either way, it's time for the blind fight.
We got looks like the optometrist pun this time.
All right, down goes blind. Map for your troubles. First crystal of the game, 46 minutes in.
Yes, indeed. So, if you're getting here late and wondering, well, I've got one crystal at 46 minutes. Has this seed been really brutal? No, it's just been kind of long and plodding. Fairly linear, actually, so far, in where it's telling our runners to go. Just took a while for Chex and John to kind of realize and do all of the things to realize that the last spot they had to check was in Agus Tower to find the lift upgrade.
Yeah, because part of that is going to the fact that, we have inverted mode and retro mode in these tournaments, which affects the routing, because the thing about the Titans Mitts, they were the first chest in the Aga Tower, which normally, if it's not Key Sanity, you're not bothering with Aga Tower unless you have to climb it for Dark World access. But because of it being retro mode, as we saw, there was a progression item in the Aga Tower.
Yeah, that's just one of those things that you have to kind of remember with the game modes. And some of these game modes we don't always get to see, or, just as a runner, you don't always run these game modes because they don't always come up. Retro, kind of one of the newer ones that we have on here. So not everybody's gotten to experience it yet.
Exactly. Okay, so we got Red Meringue in Skullwoods. Again, with this being retro mode, the 3 keys that, well, except for the one in the pinball room that you just saw, the other 2 keys are not necessarily here, so there is a possibility of actually 4 items in Skullwoods.
And we did get a graveyard ledge check. It's only a triple pack of bombs, so not worth the walk, but definitely worth the knowledge. And Chex picking up the 3rd sword upgrade in Skull Woods. That will be helpful.
And with that being hard mode that we're playing, Tempered Sword is as far as you're going.
But it looks like that John is going to be heading over to Skull Woods. We'll probably pick that up as well. I'll do a high five here as they enter and exit the woods.
Spyrus Cratch, have they seen the Take Any Sword this seed? Yes, it was in the cave next to Ice Rod Cave.
Yes, indeed. So they both picked it up. Chex found it first, and then John picked it up kind of route when he went over the route in Ice Rod Cave.
But except for that Tempered Sword, it's pretty much been a dud in Skullwoods. So basically we've got Pod, we've got the first half of Swamp. We could also do Dark Death Mountain. That would just be Super Bunny Cave and Spike Cave at this point. I think Pod is where I probably would be heading next.
Yeah, that's not a bad call. I think that's, you gotta go where where it's most accessible to you right now. And Pod, of all the dungeons, probably the most accessible one for our runners, even if it's not fully completable yet without the bow.
Alright, so... Oh, we also have Catfish and Pyramid. I forgot about both of those.
Absolutely. Chex just remembered that, so it looks like Chex may be deciding to go to Catfish now. Or not. Not gonna fake us out. Just wants to swim across.
Well, that was the thing. In order to swim across, you have to go up. There is no way to get across other than the one that he used. So, pedestal-wise, Bo can be on the pedestal. Well, Canis Maria can't because of Mire.
Right.
Hookshot can't because of Swamp Palace. Oh, well, there's the Poe on the desert, on the pyramid ledge.
Hello.
And then either lamp. Well, you need lamp for Mire, so that would be the fire source. So maybe Fire Rod. So Fire Rod, Ice Rod. We know Desert isn't Boots locked. There was a big 20 on the torch, so Boots could be there. Kane could be there.
Whatever medallion Mire is, whatever medallion you need to get into Mire can't be on there.
But the one in Turtle Rock could.
Absolutely. We know that the Book of Medora is not on there because it's in Mimic Cave.
Yeah, we got that hint. Now, Chexhuman already bought the wooden arrows, and now I imagine he's going to spend $300 to get 6 keys, and he's making the play for Pod. Or just do 5, because if you have played Key Sanity, you can hammer Yump, and you can avoid the front door, and you should be able to only need 4 keys for Pod.
Yeah, you need 5 in total. You need 4 to get through the dungeon itself, and the 5th one to get the Helmasaur King.
If you know how to hammer Yump, though, logically you need 5. If you know how to hammer Yump, you can do it with 4.
And that's the one thing that John hasn't done either. We haven't pointed that out. He hasn't bought the arrows yet.
Well, as we saw on Chex's side, he could head to the shop, but he's gonna head to Pod and make it a rude awakening.
Yes, indeed. That's a great question. We're all kind of wondering, where's that lamp at? It's kind of holding up a lot of stuff. We still haven't seen it yet, and we've checked a lot of the places that it could be at.
All right. Chex does the first check. Again, we're not bow locked because again of the way the keys work in retro, but instead, I guess decides to make his way to go finish off Armos Knights first. Which actually, John not buying those wooden arrows is actually going to be the double whammy, because Chex, if he knows his dark rooms can finish both Pod and Eastern right now, John, wait. Did John just fire an arrow?
He did. Huh. Shield's on Paradox Cave, so you know that. You know, but 2 shields are in Paradox Cave, right?
Yeah, exactly. We have both of them right now. Okay, this is a thing Is
this a bug, or? Yeah.
Well,
he didn't buy it? He either didn't buy them and it's not showing up, or he didn't buy them and it's still...
No, he didn't buy them.
I was
It
gonna
would
say
be
that.
on the screen.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, very interesting there. It was costing rupees though, so the good thing was it was working as intended, so he wasn't getting free arrows out of it. So he is spending money to get when he's shooting arrows, so that's the good thing. So it's not like he's getting like free arrows or anything like that. But
Yeah, but that's technically a bug because you're supposed to be able to. You have to buy the arrows before you can fire them.
right. So we'll have to put that one in the dev chat and be like, hey guys, we found something. or John found something.
All right.
And Quake showing up off of Armos Knights. Yeah, Armos is a very expensive fight for the fight here because it's what 18 arrows into the boss.
Yep. So that's 180 rupees spent, and we got Kana Samaria in the basement of Pod. All right, so that still doesn't open up Mire. Logically, I think you can kill Cold Stare, but you can't do. But no, Ice is open because of the way. Because of the way Retro works, and because of the way the Ice Palace logic works, you have keys, so you can get around the necessity for hookshot.
Right, and you do have Bombos to open up the first freeze ore, so that's not a problem for getting in.
And there's silver arrows in the back. Ooh, and the boots!
So those are both in the U-shaped room in the basement, right? Very nice.
So Lamp has a couple of things that are kind of locked by progression.
But what is intended logic after all? Just a suggestion. I'm gonna say JohnRossums go ahead and do the hammer yump, getting everything all lined up right now. Got the mirror out, and gotta be careful though with having the mirror out. You don't accidentally hit the wrong button and warp yourself back to the start. But he does it nicely. And probably now, my least favorite dark room of the game. One of two in this dungeon I don't like very much. The Dark Maze.
So Tadaru in chat is asking, how is it supposed to work if you have found silvers to use silver arrows, but if you haven't bought wooden, you can only fire silver arrows? That is correct.
Jacob. I think we were both looking at the same thing, right?
Yep. Jay Coper in chat also asking the important questions of, so does Link only wear one boot?
So yeah, you have to find the boot. You have to find both boots. So you find either right boot or left boot, and then you have to put them both on your feet. And when you only have one boot on, you only go half as fast when you're dashing.
Mm-hmm. Or Thalfon in chat is also saying, you know, he has the boot on his one foot and he has the flippers on his other foot.
So one leg is like ridiculously fast, and the other one just like sloppy and slow on land.
So pretty much just evens everything out, right?
Yep. This is how Link ends up. This is how we have the Legend of Zelda: A Link in the Hospital.
Very nicely done. All right, so one thing we should also point out is that with this being hard mode, even though we have found those silver arrows, they will not be able to be used until the Ganon fight. So once we get to Helmassar, it's not going to be one shot to the head and we're done.
Right, so we're going to be not able to use those on a lot of the bosses where that would make it a quicker fight. So Vitreous, if we have to do that. Actually, you know what's weird? All of the boss fights where that would be a quicker thing, we pretty much don't have to do them. They're all pendant dungeons, Jax.
True. And also would cost a lot of moolah if this, with this being retro mode.
Yeah, the cheapest of those three would be obviously just the Swamp Palace fight. But Lamola's would be 300, and Vidi would be a insanely expensive amount. You probably would just use sword swings instead. As John successfully makes it through the Helmasaur King fight, while Chex does the stupidly difficult room where you have to find the terror pins in the dark without the lamp, and that's how you open a door.
And down goes the Helmassar King. All right.
Yes,
Gotta imagine John mirrors here and then finishes Eastern.
I would think so. No, we were just talking about that. They were just talking about that in chat. Noticing the money discrepancy. Chex has done Armos Knight fight. John has not done it, and the Armos Knight fight is pretty. We mentioned it, 180 rupees, so pretty expensive.
Alright, so for Chexhuman though, we got for both runners. We got Hook Shot, Fire, and Ice Rod. That's what we're gonna need for Go mode at this point. Front of Swamp is open, but you'd be a fool right now to go do that. Because actually, I would say Ice Palace is probably where I'd be going next. Chex is going to buy more keys first. Which actually, I think, when you were talking about the the money discrepancy on Chex and John's side, Chex bought keys before heading into Pod and Eastern. John had 5 keys to start, so that also would have contributed to it. But yeah, Chex is making that play on Ice Palace.
It's definitely I think that's a call to make given what we've got so far. And John's going to go ahead and take care of the Armos Knight fight.
Pay the 180 rupee tax to make the Armos Knights fall apart. Pick up a Quake Medallion and a Crystal.
Nicely done. I think we just got a hint on what's on the left side of Swamp Palace. And it looks like it's the big key and regular key.
Which, well, again, this is Pendant Swamp Palace, so your mileage may vary right now.
Absolutely. I would really doubt we'll see them go in there until they've exhausted all the other opportunities and found the hook shop.
Well, it could also be that if we need, you may have exhausted all your opportunities without the hook shot and need to go to Swamp to either get the hook shot or something else.
Very important point. I'm getting hype cave hints now. Both runners have been there, so of course we don't really need to know what's in hype cave.
And for those that may have just joined us, we did quite a linear seed. We did see a nice function, well, not nice function of retro mode being there were actually items in Aga Tower, one of them being the Titan's Mints to go get the Moon Pearl and Checkerboard Cave. But we have also been to Hera, which is a crystal, but we know we are fire locked on the big key to get up the Hera Tower.
And you know what, Jex? We still have not found the fire source. Over an hour into this, we haven't found the fire rod or the lamp still.
Which technically the boots and the silver arrows that we found in Pod would be locked by the lamp.
Absolutely. So, a lot of questions about where do we go from here? What do we even find in Ice Palace? Don't necessarily know that there is progression here, but I'm also kind of at a loss for where do we go after this. Do we go to the Super Bunny Cave? Do we have to go all the way up to Dark Death Mountain? Check that stuff.
Well, there is the 2 items in Super Bunny Cave. There is the 1 in Hookshot Cave that we can access with the boots. Neither runner has been to Cat. There's Spike Cave. Neither runner has been to Catfish. And we keep talking about this Pendant Swamp Palace. There is viably still items there. Desert, we've been to were fire rod or fire source locked out of Lamulus. Mire is accessible, but not completable without the lamp, technically. We've been to Skullwoods also.
Mire's accessible as long as it's not ether locked. Because remember, we didn't get that check of the medallion to get in yet.
Oh, that's right. And also, that was what I was also about to say about Turtle Rock, if it's not ether locked. Is also accessible. Because actually, that gets back to what we're talking about being able to farm keys in retro mode. Because in the regular randomizer, not having the fire rod, you basically would have one check. If it's not a small key, you're out. But with it being retro mode and you can farm keys, you can farm enough keys really to go all the way to Laser Bridge. But there's the lamp in the big chest of Ice Palace.
Hello, and both runners picking it up almost simultaneously. So again, we're getting that sweet convergence. And we're going to get, looks like, simultaneous cold stare fights. Maybe
or not.
John head faking us.
I think John still has to do Iced Tea Room. That's what we're seeing here.
Ah, that would make sense.
But with Blue Mail and Tempered Sword, this cold stare fight shouldn't be too hard. Just to do a whirl of Bombos Fire, put Cold Stare in a corner, hit him with a few Tempered Sword spins, and just like that, Cold Stare down.
And there we go, get another crystal. We've got the lamp, and that's going to open up quite a few locations now. We're going to be able to go into the Desert Palace. That is Pendant. So Tower of Hera becomes opened. Let's see what else.
I think
open, yeah.
I think that's the play, to be honest. I think go to Death Mountain, finish Hera, and then take care of Super Bunny Cave and Spike Cave, and then if you can get into Turtle Rock, maybe do that. But
Chex is fake powdering.
Did we find the mushroom?
We must have found it, yeah. How do we not see that one?
Alright. Magic Batch is giving money.
For a big 50.
JohnRossums not able to get Cold Stare in the corners, having a little bit of trouble, but gets it done.
So we do have someone asking in chat, a couple people asking about what's retro mode. So we'll go over that one more time here for some of you who may have just joined in and are wondering what is going on here with the arrows suddenly costing money and the keys being universal. So retro mode gives Link to the Past some of the tasty treats of the original Legend of Zelda game, which include the fact that arrows cost rupees to use, 10 for every wooden arrow that you want to fire, and 50 for every silver. Silvers also only work on Ganon, and that's brought to you by hard mode. We've also got...
sorry.
Also got... I was just going to finish up real quick here with the keys. But we've also got... keys are universal, and they can be found in the item pool and used in any dungeon. And you can also buy them if you happen to run out of keys on your merry adventuring.
Yep. Sorry, I thought you were stopping, and then I was going to come in and finish, but you kept going, and I still didn't mean to step on you there.
Nah,
King's Tomb had nothing, and JohnRossums is about to take a coffee break.
Yes, indeed. Actually, there are a couple other things, Chex, if you want to talk real quick about some of the other things that retro mode adds besides the kind of the two big things with the keys and arrows there.
Yeah, because there are take any rooms like there are in Zelda 1. 4 of them where you have a choice between a blue potion and a heart container, and one that has one of the 4 sword upgrades that is out of the item pool and guaranteed to be in that take any room.
Indeed, and since we're playing in hard mode, in this case, it's one of the 3 sword upgrades, because we will not go above Tempered Sword that both of our runners have right now.
Well, actually, I think the 2 are still there. I think the 4 sword upgrades, I think the mail and shield upgrades are all there. I think just what happens is once you get to the max level, they just get replaced by green, like 20 rupees.
Yeah, they get replaced by 20s. I've never seen someone run into the sword upgrade, one that got all the possible upgrades in hard mode. So I would assume it does the same thing for that, but I've never seen it, so I can't say for certain.
Should also point out that Chexhuman, again, new things you do in retro mode, does a late Houlihan to get more cash to pick up some more keys for dungeon excursions.
Some cash requires a green pendant, so we know what the green pendant turn-in is. It's not anything important.
Nope. Now, that still doesn't mean that the pedestal can't have either the hook shot or... Well, it can't have the hook shot because of swamp, but fire and ice rod could certainly be on the pedestal at this point. And a swing and a spin and a troll dorm is a dead.
And a map is uncovered. Is John going to be checking Spike Cave now? Or what is his plan?
Maybe he erroneously fell down?
Possibly. He may be going over to do Turtle Rock stuff now.
You know what it might have been? It might have been the realization of... He was probably thinking he'll drop down and go to the portal at the bottom, but not having the hook shot. The only way to get to Dark Death Mountain is from the Turtle Rock portal.
Ah, that would make a lot of sense. That would absolutely make sense for why he did that. And it's perfectly logical to forget sometimes that you have an item, just as long as John did. You catch it right off the bat, and he's going to open up Turtle Rock here. Wonder if he will poke his head inside or just kind of open it up and leave it open for now.
I would, if I were in their position, if I was tempted to head into Turtle Rock, which JohnRossums is going to go ahead and do anyway, I would have probably done Super Bunny and Super Bunny in the first chest and Hookshot Cave before, on the chance that the Fire Rod, Ice Rod were sitting right outside.
Absolutely. Seeing a situation now where we got a clue that a unique item is in the dark, and that's a fairly vague clue. I kind of wonder if it was referring to our Palace of Darkness finds of silver arrows and boots in the U-shaped room.
Pretty much that has to be what it was referring to. I don't think there are any other... The only other dark ones. And JohnRossums remembering, hey, I'm kind of out of keys. I can't really go any further into Turtle Rock. Question from chat. Racer, so, how are the races being determined? So the higher, well, let's do Super Bunny Cave, and then we'll go over how the group stage is being done.
Indeed, it's pretty interesting, and chat's talking a little bit about it, so that I've kind of got a little bit of an idea. There's Ice Rod. Hi.
There is Ice Rod. So, okay, so the group stage, we're down to 96 runners. They're in 16 groups of 6. You run against every other racer 3 times. The first time, the higher seeded racer gets to pick all of the options. The second race, the lower seeded racer gets to pick. And then the third, we randomize it. Each runner gets 1 veto on what is randomly selected. So JohnRossums, being the higher seeded runner, got to pick first. Chexhuman being the lower one, this is his pick. And then Rando for the third one.
Indeed, they'll have a little bit of leeway to veto something. Of course, the key with that is, you got to really be careful with what you choose to veto, because you could veto something and then you get something maybe even worse for you, but your opponent's like, yeah, I like that idea. Let's do that. And John's now picking up some keys here from the Dark World vendor, so very helpful, actually.
One thing that is certainly interesting with the way I've kind of seen the tournament unfold is you certainly have a lot of execution-heavy runners going for all dungeons, which kind of negates the, oh, hey, there was a required item in a Pendant dungeon, and that's why I lost this race. And doing all dungeons kind of means, well, yeah, if there's a required item in a Pendant dungeon, that's fine. I had to do it anyway.
I think we're getting a check here, maybe of the... No, not yet. John's just going to go here and do Desert Palace stuff. Now he can full clear it with the lamp in tow.
Yeah. See, when we were in that bottleneck of Titan's Mitts on Agate Tower and Moon Pearl and Checkerboard Cave, Chexhuman did Desert first and then went to Checkerboard Cave for the Moon Pearl. JohnRossums went straight for Checkerboard Cave first, which is why you see him doing Desert now.
On the other hand, the really nice thing here for John is he's going to be able to do this all in one fell swoop. Chex is going to have to come back to clear out the rest of this, if he wants to, if there's a reason for doing it.
Yeah, because at this point, the only reason why Desert would even need to be completed is it either if there's a required item on Lamulus or the pedestal has a required item.
Right, so we may see John finish the clear here and actually end up dipping out too.
So we are seeing Chex having bought keys is now dipping Turtle Rock.
Yes, indeed. He's getting a chance to dive deeper into this dungeon.
And that's, again, one of the interesting things of retro mode. In normal randomizer, we saw the big key in the first chest, and with no fire rod, you're basically locked out of Turtle Rock. But because we can farm keys by buying them, you can keep going in Turtle Rock.
John is making the Lamulus play, so very interesting. I guess it's maybe just thinking here that I'm here. This is a fairly quick fight. I'll go ahead and clear it out right now. We don't have to worry about this later.
Yeah, it makes sense. Now, we did see a hint earlier that the book was in Mimic Cave, so I'm not a witch for saying that Chexhuman is about to pick up a book.
We'll see about that. We'll see if you float after this race. But yes, that does mean that that Chex is going to be able to check the tablets afterward, both Bombos and Ether. Possibly looking for an item to drop there.
And just a big 20 on Lamellus, so unless this is a pedestal seed, Desert is a bust. Now, for all that talk of, hey, the Fire Rod actually, not retro mode, having the Fire Rod, not having the Fire Rod allows you to go into Shadow Rock further. You still need that Fire Rod for Trinex, so yeah. Not gonna be able to finish.
Chex just had a very fun little glitch there. It doesn't really do much, but sometimes when you spawn the Samaria platform there, and you do it too quickly and you try to get on it, you fall right through, even though the platform's solid.
Alright, now we're going to see John head into Mire.
It was Bombos for Mire, so no need for any other medallions besides the first one we found.
Chex deciding what to do. That, he's able to run past the laser beam there. I mean, that Cane of Burna being hard mode isn't going to do him any good on the laser ride.
Right.
I honestly probably would have opened the safety door because, again, I suck at this game. But Chexhuman doesn't, gets the 4 items, and is going to be heading out.
Yeah, I was gonna say Laser Bridge is the bus, so he's gonna take the death here and death warp back to the start, or death warp at least back to the door that he came in. Oh, did he skip the platform in the middle there?
I think he skipped Vanilla Big Key.
Right.
Because he was running low on keys. So went for the more item dense location in Laser Bridge, and now gonna spend a key to go check the Vanilla Big Key chest.
Yeah, it's just the map. I do want to say though, and I have to agree with Thalthon in chat. Definite props to Chex for doing that laser bridge on 1 heart and skipping all of the lasers. That was really, really nice to see.
Thalthon also did point out that's the reason why he didn't open the safety door, so he could mirror and go check Vanilla Big Key. And Mecam Box, never seen that rail clip. Gonna assume it is allowed? Yes, it is.
Sure is, because it doesn't usually do a whole lot. It's useful for some navigational stuff, but it's not particularly something that you see in a lot of rando.
Alright, so unless we find something in Mire, and we know from a hint Sahasrara on the green pendant just has cash, yeah, I keep saying how you may be forced to do Pendant Swamp House without the hook shot.
Well, we were talking about that earlier, and boy, we're starting to run out of options at this point for where things could be that would open up more progression. We've kind of got this bottleneck again here, where we find something and it opens up a couple of locations. Chex is going to check the tablet here. We'll see if this is anything.
Just more cash.
Yeah, 300 rupees. But yeah, the seed's been very interesting in how it's handled progression. It seems to be kind of like, hey, here's some stuff. Okay, now go do all the things. Go check everything. And Chex is gonna check because I can check the
Spike
Spike
Cave.
Cave.
Should also point out that neither runner has been to Catfish yet.
Right. We thought Chex might be going over there earlier, but instead was just going over to the pyramid to grab the bow.
And we are hook shot and fire rod away from go mode. Hook shot cannot be on pedestal by virtue of Swamp Palace. Fire rod can, though. And might we maybe be getting a pedestal check while...
I don't know. He went to. We did see Chex go to Dark World. Now he's going back to Light World.
Oh, this. He's getting a full magic decanter. Now, he doesn't have the fire rod, so he can't do Skullwoods. Okay, so he was doing that to get the full magic decanter. Wait, neither runner turned in the lunchbox either.
No, I guess that's what Chex is thinking. Lunchbox grab. But John's going. He's going into Swamp Palace. He's going to make the Swamp Palace play.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of been talking about the bottleneck, but that's kind of the interesting thing is that we're kind of in an aggregate bottleneck because both runners have kind of wildly diverged, checking different places, but putting them together basically means that, you know, like I said, we're pretty much down to Lunchbox, we're down to Bombo's Tablet, Catfish, and Swamp Palace, and the pedestal. Well, pedestal if we find the hook shot. Should also point out, JohnRossums was in Mire and elected not to finish. Instead going for Swamp. All right.
Oh. So now Bombo's Tablet check for Chex. Magic Powder shows up.
Yep, we saw a magic bat from a fake powder from Chexhuman, and there wasn't anything there. There's Fire Rod!
Oh my goodness. Fire Rod showing up on the Bombos tablet. So our players, we got the Mimic Cave hint, and we're kind of like, okay, that's interesting. Turns out it was kind of a hint on where you needed to go.
Yeah, that certainly is the case. Which now also means Pedestal is dead, and we're a hook shot away from go mode.
Yeah, we know the hook shot's got to be somewhere.
Because even though you need the hook shot for Swamp Palace, unless either of these runners know how to hover, still kind of need that hook shot to get across Trolldorm 2.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a huge routing decision for Chex that pays off, getting that fire rod. Because that's really all you need to complete the remaining dungeons, and then hope that you find the hook shot somewhere along the way.
You know what that means, though?
No, what does it mean?
Ganon's tower could have the hook shot.
Ah, that's a good point. It could be within one of the. Oh, it could be within one of the chests. Imagine if it's like a situation where the first chest is the big key, and you need that hook shot, and you're just like, where is it at? And it's like chest 22 or something. You have to go through the whole thing just to find the hook shot again.
And a very cooperative Moth for Chexhuman. Blink and you miss it, Mothula's down.
Absolutely. Good fight. Good fight. And the big key shows up there. So maybe Chex goes and checks the chest real quick. See what we got inside.
Now we should also point out that we did see a hint that left side swamp has a small key and a big key. So unless Hookshot is in the Swamp Palace big chest, Swamp is gonna bust out for John.
Yep.
And actually, I wouldn't be surprised. Yep, John knows that the other chest is a small key, so he ain't even bothering with it.
Yeah, no reason to go do the trek all the way back up for a small key when you can go buy one.
Now that is 6 crystals for Chexhuman. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for Turtle Rock and then hopes the hook shot is in Ganon's tower. John busted out of Swamp Palace.
And that's one of the things we got to think about here too. Is if it's not in GT and it's not in any of the crystal dungeons, then not really sure where Hookshot could be. We know it's not in Swamp Palace, at least not anywhere that's not accessible. So we've seen all the non-Hookshot chests. We've seen the Hookshot cave chest that you can get to. That doesn't have it.
You know, it's one location we've been completely forgetting about. Fat Fairy.
Fat Fairy too, yeah. We haven't seen Catfish either.
You're right, we have not seen Catfish either. So unfortunately for John, at this point he has to go to Turtle Rock, go to Mimic Cave to get the book, to go to Bombo's tablet to get the fire rod.
Could also be on Try Next, then, is indeed correct. That's a well within logical possibility of where the hookshot could be. We're just kind of watching here and seeing what shows up here for checks, and when and where does John make the call to go up and go get the Book of Medora? Because we're seeing a lot of overworld checks at this point that are just kind of, unfortunately, we know from our perspective from watching this, we know they're going to be kind of fruitless for what he needs.
Interesting that Chexhuman is foregoing the 2 chests in the Fire Rod lock room. Maybe YOLOing Trinex, and then maybe do the 2 chests to gamble the Fire Rod there.
Yeah, it's possible. I think what else might be the situation? Could it just be something as simple too as overlooking them? Just simply overlooking the possibility, thinking perhaps that there's a better chance of Hookshot being in Ganon's tower.
Ilu Weaver in chat is asking, why is Hookshot needed for this seed? I assume because Swamp Palace being appended. Well, the issue is that you still need the Hookshot to get across after finishing off Trolldorm 2 in the Gauntlet. There is a glitch where you can hover with the boots, but that is logically not required.
Is logically not required and very difficult. There's not many. There are people within the randomizer community that can do it, and there's some people that can do it very well, and it's very impressive to see. But it is incredibly difficult to get the button presses to be precisely as you need them for the hover trick to work. And especially over the Mold Worm 2 gap. That's a huge gap. that you have to hover, and really a lot of times it's just not worth it. It takes way too much time.
All right, but Chexhuman is going to head into Trinex.
Doing that work there on that first head, getting the second one as well.
Oh no, is John going back to Ag 2?
Uh-oh. He wants to check that second. He didn't check the second chest.
All right, well, while he does that unfortunate thing, Chexhuman has Trinex down, so that will be crystal number 7. And if you're a fan of Randomizer, you know what that means. That means that there are 22 locations where the Ganon's Tower Big Key could be in the basement of Ganon's Tower. If you want to play in our guessing game and get a chance to be on our leaderboard, you need to put in a guess between 1 and 22. If you have donated to one of our 6 speed gaming channels or have donated 250 bits to one of those speed gaming channels, but you might want to be quick about it because Chexhuman's almost on his way to Ganon's Tower Giant Neon Tiger. What's your guess?
Oh my goodness. I don't know where to guess. Every time I guess wrong. I say it's early, it's late. I say it's late, it's early. So stick with an old traditional thing. Let's put it in a randomizer room, chest number 12.
I'll Price is Right you and go 11.
You would do that. Stares at you.
Either way, guesses are closed.
Absolutely.
All right. Just number 1, 20 bucks. 2, Piece of Heart. Usually, right now, I would say you don't have a key, so you have to go left. Again, this is retro mode. Chexhuman has 3 keys. He can go right, and that's what he's doing. And the one thing to keep in mind, we are still missing the hook shot. We are going to, assuming neither runner can hover, we are going to need that hook shot.
Indeed. Unfortunately, we don't have a bot guessing game for that one, so we'll just kind of have to count along here.
Number 3, 5 bucks. 4, triple bombs. 5. There it is.
Absolutely. There you go. It's number 5. So what do we see? He's gonna make the gamble. Gonna go up.
Might he know how to hover? I don't know if he knows how to hover. If he knows how to hover. All right, but the closest guess from a sub or supporter was number 7 from the Firewood King. Congratulations!
Congrats, Firewood
King. You've been added to our leaderboard.
You did it. Congratulations. But now comes the kind of the most tedious part for a lot of runners. It's difficult. The gauntlet's pretty tough simply because of the number of difficult rooms and the fact that a lot of them have ice on the floor, which is a pain to deal with. It's definitely a very tedious experience to be going through Gauntlet because a lot of the enemies like to move around in weird ways and misbehave.
All right, JohnRossums is finally making his way to Turtle Rock. For those who may have just joined us, hint says Book of Medora is in Mimic Cave, and then we know that Bombos Tablet has the Fire Rod. Hook shot we are still looking for. Logically, you need it. We might be seeing Chexhuman do a hover to not need it.
Yep, we'll see what Chex does when he gets to the top there.
And 3 strikes, the Lambos are out at the old ball game.
I mean, I'm thinking maybe we are going to see a hover here because I don't know from a run perspective that it would be the wisest thing to go up here and bet on these last 4 chests, or actually really 3 chests, because one of them is the chest you have to hook shot over to. So
yeah, I have to think Chexhuman knows how to hover, because if he didn't and was trying to find the hook shot, you would have continued to search the basement. You wouldn't climb the gauntlet, gamble the 3 chests, then go back down and risk having to run the gauntlet again.
yeah, it's a massive time sink. Watch this game prove us wrong, and the hook shot is up here.
Well, it's all going to depend on if Chexhuman checks the 2 chests. He doesn't. I think he's hovering.
Get your goggles on, because we're going to the future where everything hovers.
Very nice. I see what you did there. A swing and a spin and a Trolldorm is a dead again. And hover hype time. Here we go.
Yep, he's doing it. Oh, he's trying. He's trying to get that hover. He's trying to do it. Oh,
he got it!
Did it! It is a key in the last chest. The madman. Good job, Chex.
Right as JohnRossums gets the book, Chexhuman hovers, and we are on our way to the Geometry Wars.
Really well done. But we're going to see the Aga 2 fight as Jet's mind is blown. Fortunately, striking out on that first one, getting a 1-hit second time through. Nice lineup here for this.
But blue balled, so you only get a single.
Yeah, always hate that. Oh, 2 and 3, a triple. He's got 1 more hit.
And that does it.
Nicely done.
Leaves a bomb for Aga, and it is time for the big pig.
Yes, indeed it is, my friend. Yes, indeed it is. Get that griddle nice and warm. So we might be having some bacon here soon.
Now, with this being hard mode, we haven't had the ability to use the silver arrows, but now the Chexhuman has the ability to spend 200 rupees because of retro mode to finish off the big pig.
He's got more than enough. He's got 512, so obviously that's 512 more than 200, so should not be a problem. Even with a few misses.
Yeah, and even with even if he didn't, honestly, the lead he's got right now, he could do silverless no problem. But phase 3.
Very quickly on to phase 3 here. 2 hits in, 3rd hit, 1 more to go, and Chex should have this in the bag. Find the errors in the Dark Palace. Sure did.
Here they are in your face. That's 1.
I always wish you could interrupt that with like an arrow. Did you find the arrows in the dark? Oh, you found the arrows.
And
triple to finish it.
To get it done for Chexhuman.
Wow, that's a nice, clean, impressive fight there at the end. And Chexhuman's gonna walk across that bridge, and we will get a dock done here. Very nicely done.
Yes, we have Chexhuman finishing with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 30 seconds. Spam those GGs in chat.
Indeed, spam those GGs in chat. Wonderfully done. Where Chex was going, they didn't need roads. And I think Jones realized that Bonmo's table is open.
Yeah, I think that's where he's heading next.
And we're gonna get checks in here in just a moment. Do for the always lovely post-game interview.
And joining us in chat is Chexhuman. GG to you, sir.
Excuse me. GG.
GG checks. Boy, we were kind of wondering there if you were gonna do the hover at the end, and we were like, well, maybe he's just gambling on that. And then we realized, no, he's gonna do the hover. he's gonna skip the chest and do the hover. And then first try with that too. That was really nice to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, chat was certainly happy with that. So, was that just out of curiosity? Was that your first? I know you picked retro. Have you run retro that much before?
I've run it a little bit. It's kind of a cool combination with entrance shuffle sometimes. It puts a different bit of variation that I kind of like. Different dungeon routing. There's like, I bet there's more to learn here, but there's stuff like you should probably skip the Thieves Town key until just before blind, the one that's under the pot. And I actually forgot and went all the way up the hallway and grabbed it and went all the way back. That was not necessary. So there's cool things like that you can do.
Well,
if
and
you
I
remember to do them.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing we definitely, if you hadn't learned already, you certainly learned in this race that Agahnim can have required items.
Right. That's another thing I was hoping to see. And again, that was an error, kind of not really combining it with Hyrule Castle. So not the best routing there. But I figured it would have something since it was my last location for progression.
Yeah, it's usually a pretty good sign, unless if it doesn't have anything, got a broken seed, need to return it to the store for a fresh one. But yeah, so basically, how did you feel as far as execution and whatnot with the retro seed this time? Did you think it went pretty well?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I'm actually, I kind of forgot whether there are fewer keys in hard mode, just in the item pool. I think there might be fewer keys. So combine that with less money in the item pool, and it becomes difficult to have enough keys. So I had to sort of make sure I had enough going into Palace of Darkness, and I didn't have enough going into Turtle Rock, but kind of made do. And Turtle Rock is, it has a lot of items, and instead of 4 small keys, it has 4 potential items. So it was kind of interesting that it had no progression, except that Mimic Cave.
Yeah, we got to see.
Although on the other hand, it is more likely for Mimic Cave to have progression, or Turtle Rock, because Fire Rod doesn't really lock it.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking to both points, Laser Bridge was kind of a bust this time, but we did get to see you do some impressive work with dodging the lasers, actually, on one heart.
Oh, that was
no
also
less.
really stupid.
It might have been really stupid, but you made it work somehow. And
because I forgot that Cane of Burna doesn't give you any protection at all. So yeah. I did one dash with it and then threw it away.
We also saw you with Laser Bridge not take the safety door so you could mirror back to do vanilla big key. Was there a reason for that?
Yes, that was because I was a key short and couldn't Oh, actually, you know what? No, that's not why. It's because I went into the wrong tube.
Oh,
If I had, I was, because I couldn't make up my mind, and then I was gonna do the vanilla big key chest, and then continue the rest of the dungeon. But instead, I just saved it for after. I felt like it didn't really matter, so I just went with it.
Indeed, and you mentioned too that Mimic Cave tends to have tends to be a little more item heavy than in normal other modes. And indeed, this time we found that hint. That Book of Medora is there, which kind of thought about it. Kind of thought, oh, that's a nice little hint, and it turns out to be not just a nice little hint, but a hint that is super required because you had to go to Bombo's tablet to get your Go mode item there, which was the Fire Rod.
Yeah, that was really fortunate for me. I see JohnRossums was doing Pendant dungeons, which, it could have been the answer. And so I was getting a little bit scared of that too. But it worked out in my favor.
yeah,
Yes.
he basically has done everything but Vitreous. And we still have not seen the hook shot yet.
Yeah, which is definitely kind of frustrating. I can understand the frustrating feeling with that. Hookshot still hasn't shown up yet. We're kind of running out of places where it can be, and it could be in GT somewhere too. Which we only saw right side. We didn't see any of the other chests. So besides the final chest, which you opened up and had a small key inside of it, of course.
Yeah.
Thanks, game. So, while we're watching John make his way back to Turtle Rock, how you feeling on the tournament so far?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's pretty fun to do these different modes and kind of have to do a little bit of preparation. Yeah, I'm kind of enjoying it for that reason. And I feel like it's possible for me to get out of these groups and go to the next stage, maybe. And if not, that's all right too. Yeah. Yeah, I was able to pull off the hover in a previous race too, when I just didn't want to fight Helmasaur King at Moldorm 2, but I had already kind of buried myself by forgetting an item location that I couldn't win that race. But yeah, it's been interesting seeing the different things happen.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what's to your point about all the different things, like, I didn't even bother running in the qualifiers because I knew I wasn't going to make top 96, but still, like, even as a commentator, like, I'm having to do the same research you runners are doing, just to make sure that I know what could potentially happen. So that's, even in my position, I'm still enjoying, seeing all the variances and trying to figure out, like, what zaniness that we could see. Like today, Agatower having the Titan's Mitts to get to Moon Pearl at Checkerboard Cave.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, Little Bunny Adventure is fun too.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. So, actually, speaking of standings and whatnot, Chex, you've completed quite a few races so far. You've actually got 9. This will be your 9th race that you've done, I believe. So that'll put you to 5 and 4. And John's he will be at 2 and 6. It looks like in Group J. So, yeah, going about you're about 500 throughout the tournament so far.
Yeah,
You have kind of a
I have a good feeling about that since 3 of those losses were with Kyong 92.
I was gonna say
So that's
that
done and over with.
Absolutely. I was gonna say in the top two from I think it's the top two from each of the groups are gonna go through, right? If I remember right, is that what it was?
Yep, top 2.
Okay, yeah. So obviously, you've got quite a few good runners in your in the group. Obviously, Kyung still undefeated 5-0 right now. You know that's always going to be a tough opponent to take down. But there's still second spot still up for grabs among the other 5 people, and you're kind of sitting in a good spot right now.
Yeah. Thanks. I'll try to make it to the next stage.
And unfortunately, at this point, I think with not having found the hook shot and knowing that he's lost, I think JohnRossums has unfortunately forfeited. He also was saying in the SRL chat that he needed to go to sleep. So I unfortunately think that means that this is going to conclude this race. But again, GG's to JohnRossums for putting on an excellent race for us. Chexhuman, any final thoughts from you before we wrap up shop tonight?
No, I've got a race coming up on, I think it's tomorrow night, as well as Thursday. Game 3 with John will be Thursday. Random settings. Other than that, thanks for commentating. I appreciate it, as always.
Yeah, not a problem. For those wondering, that race is going to be actually at 12:30 in the morning on Wednesday. So it will be Chexhuman versus Tadaru in a all dungeons open randomized hard retro. So another retro race for those who, if you enjoyed this, stay tuned. It's going to be on Speed Gaming 2 late tomorrow night, Rando After Dark.
Yeah, exactly. And let me see here. I was checking something, trying to check the schedule. Because we've got all right, sorry, had to pull up the schedule here. So we have Hitzian and Gem gonna kick things off tomorrow on Speed Gaming 3 at 2:30 p.m. McLagan and Killer App at 3:30 p.m. on Speed Gaming 2, and both of those are going to be inverted seeds. So if you like some inverted action, tomorrow's your day.
Absolutely, and if Key Sanity is more your thing at 4:30, Bonta and T214 are going to be taking each other on on Speed Gaming 5. We got another inverted seed at 5:30 on Speed Gaming 3. Jakaris and Cadenza. So yeah, tomorrow is inverted day apparently. I'm looking down the schedule here, and there's a lot of inverted matches tomorrow.
Yeah, we got some old dungeons. We got that retro mode. We got an Randomizer. I mean, again, that's the beauty of this tournament is we got a lot of different modes to go through. But anywho, again, be sure to give both Chexhuman and JohnRossums follows on Twitch. They again put on quite the show for us tonight. Certainly enjoyed watching both of them. Do want to give a shout out to our tracker Long Road. Did a great job keeping track of all the items that we found. And Neon Tiger, it was a pleasure commentating with you again. It's been a while since we've been together.
Yeah, I know you've been busy with moving and stuff, and we haven't been together for a while, but it's always a pleasure working with you, Jax. I always love seeing you on the schedule.
Yeah. I am officially moved to Tennessee at this point, and that happened like 3 months ago. So I am back and at it, even with all the zaniness and everything. But again, shout outs to the Speed Gaming staff. Shout outs to all of the volunteers behind the scenes that put this race on in a volunteer status. None of this is for free. None of this is for pay. All of this is free entertainment that we're putting on here on Twitch. So be sure to subscribe or donate bits for the Speed Gaming network of channels to keep all of these races going. For Neon Tiger, I have been Jex Reffi. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next mission.
Indeed, as always, good night, good luck, good RNG. Remember, someone out there loves you, and we love you too. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care, guys. Bye.